We're at PPO Park, where the Philadelphia Union have just fallen to the New York City FC 2-1. Mike Servideo, I'm here with Eli Perlman-Storch. Disappointing result.
Obviously not the way you want to go into a break. Coming off such an important statement win against Columbus, the Union just looked tired. They looked out of ideas, and for the first 15 minutes, it kind of felt like they wanted to let New York City play themselves out and run with their energy, come at them. But it seemed like they felt that there was going to be a breaking point when New York City would drop back and give them more of the ball, and it just didn't quite come. And they didn't look like they fully had what it took tonight.
CJ Sapong gets his 4th goal of the season to open the scoring, and then there's New York comes right back to get the equalizer, but the Union have a slew of chances after that. Is there one you think about that they should have put in?
I just keep thinking of Sebastian Latou's chances all night. He had so many opportunities near the box, outside, and his touch just wasn't where it needs to be. You could put that down to the long week and the heaviness of his legs, but he has to do better with some of those chances. In close, where he's saved a couple times, those are chances that need to be taken, and too often he's taking his first touch and it's taking him wide, and that's handicapping his ability to get a look on goal and by cutting down his own angle. So that's a big problem. It seemed clear that the Union really wanted to attack this team with crosses, and they did.
I think 38.
Yeah,
stats.
And you look at some really nice balls coming in from Shannon Williams on the right, coming in from Fabinho, high, low. There was a lot of good service. But against a team like New York City FC that has such an immobile backline, you look at Chris Wingert, you look at Hernandez. I mean, these are guys who don't move their feet well. Shea Facey is athletic, but he's very young. I was surprised they didn't try and run through them a little bit more, especially with the athleticism of Sapong. It looked like they were just trying to rely on his leaping ability rather than his soccer ability. And so it was frustrating to see them talk about it in the locker room. Shannon Williams was saying that's what they were giving them. And to a certain extent, you take what's being given to you. But when it's not working, it would have been nice to see a different option pursued.
So New York scores the 2 goals on the night. McNamara's goal, what a great shot. I mean, 25 yards out, you say maybe he has a little bit too much time and space, but great curler into the top corner. Credit where credit's due. Second goal, Patrick Mullins kind of backing in Fabinho off the throw-in, seems to beat Brian Sylvester at the near post. Is the defense not there? Should Sylvester have that? Just
going back to the first goal, it's a defensive breakdown. I mean, in the midfield. They turn the ball over in the midfield, and McNamara gets a look behind Nogueira. So Carroll gets caught out, Nogueira gets caught out, and there's a huge pocket of space. There's a question of should Adu come for that? Personally, knowing that there's 2 other strikers, and with that guy that high up on the field, I don't expect my center back to come screaming out to try and block that shot that far out. It's one of those where it's like a center shooting a 3 in basketball. You're going to give him that look, and he took it. It was a beautifully struck ball, and sometimes the offensive player makes a play, and for me that was one of those instances. On the second goal, it definitely came off of Richie Marquez's knee. We spoke to him in the locker room, and it's an unlucky goal that comes right off of his knee, but the strength with which Fabinho was turned is a big problem. Mullins is coming on strong, but he's a forward leaning into you he shouldn't be giving away the inside like that. Especially that late in the game, his weight should be on Mullins' inside shoulder, forcing him outside. So to allow him to just roll into the box and crack that shot, you don't want to see that happen. It's not good defending, and it undid some pretty solid work again from Fabinho, who started very slowly in the first half, but really picked it up and had a very good second half.
Let's get to one of the questions that you guys have been tweeting at us for the last 5 minutes, and probably since about halftime. 3rd game in a week. No changes to start the lineup except for Aristigueta, who's injured and didn't make the 18, so Sapong starts up top. Subs again very late. Do you think the subs are coming too late on a weekly basis? Did they come too late tonight? What would you have done differently?
I lobbied for this team in my player ratings piece. That was the exact starting 11 that I picked. But I had expected them to come out with a little more energy to try and put the tie to bed quickly. New York City FC is not a good team. Their standing shows it. Their play on the field shows it. They're not a good team. And what you saw from that midfield today, they should have been broken down easily by the Union. But Maidana was struggling to find his spaces the way he usually does. And you got very little, next to nothing out of Andrew Wenger. You say yet again, but he was positive on Wednesday against Columbus, went right back to his poor form in this game. And so it's hard to look at this team and understand why they didn't come out on the front foot with some good form, with a chance to really stake their claim to the playoff spots. They came out and really absorbed pressure. That's not what you want to see. And once that's happened and they start to look more tired, I was very surprised not to see those subs come quicker. There aren't a lot of options on this team. You're missing Aristigueta, you're missing Casey, Hopino, Kadic is away. You have no other striker, so your only option is to bring Latu forward. So up front, you don't have any options. But and I tweeted this at halftime. I would have loved to see the whole line change, where you pull Wenger, Latu, and Maidana for Pfeffer and Ayuk and McLaughlin, which were the three subs they inevitably used. But that Pfeffer sub needed to come sooner. You weren't getting enough out of Wenger. You weren't getting enough out of that midfield attacking trio. That needs to come quicker. I would have almost done that at the half, just to inject some pace, inject some energy into this team, another technical set of feet to move the ball around. And then once Pfeffer's on the field again, waiting so long for Ayuk, and then McLaughlin coming on in stoppage time, it proves that Jim Curtin doesn't have faith in his bench, which, to be fair, he doesn't have a lot of reason to. Pfeffer has done well in some stretches, has obviously cost the team points with the elbow that resulted in the red card, and then the unlucky handball that yielded a penalty kick. But you look at what Ayuk's done, and Ayuk has given you some excitement, but not a lot of experienced soccer talent. He still looks at his feet every time he dribbles, and the balls that he's playing into the box, there were a couple good ones, but he wasn't picking out a man. He was just smacking the ball into the box because he's still just looking at his feet, which is not to say he's a bad player. He's an 18-year-old player, and that will come with time. But again, that was his second best option off the bench, he felt. And McLaughlin getting his first minutes doesn't get to come in until 2 minutes into stoppage time. So, yes, he left it too late. And sometimes in this league, you just have to put the guys on the field because you need energy, you need a spark. And, New York City starting Poku and McNamara in their first MLS starts today. Why not give those guys a little bit of a run?
Right. So off next weekend, and then they start Open Cup play a week from Tuesday against Rochester Rhinos. What is the lineup that you're... Maybe we won't talk about the Open Cup game because you might see some lineup changes, but then the weekend after that, they're away in Los Angeles. What is the team you see coming out for that game?
It'll be very interesting to see who returns. It'll be interesting to see where Aristigueta's health is, where Vittoria's health is, where Connor Casey's health is, where Michael Lahoud's health is.
Where Blake's health is.
Yeah. Right now, this is still Brian Sylvester's job, assuming they can, he's still here and they can lock him up for longer. And it's still Brian Carroll's job. Brian Carroll was excellent. For me
today, yeah.
For me tonight, it was Noguera, it was Carroll, and it was Williams on the right flank. Those were the three best players going forward for this team. And so Carroll has won this job, and it's not like he's keeping out one of the marquee names in this team. Michael Lahoud's a nice player, but by no means is he, a first 11, first on the sheet kind of guy. So we'll see what they have available. But it's a tough double bill to go to LA, who will be a little bit rejuvenated, who will be, getting ready to celebrate Steven Gerrard's arrival. They're going to have a lot of energy. They might have a healthy Robbie Keane. So that's a problem. And then Seattle coming back, you'll see what you get out of your guys in that game. So it's good that they get the time. It's good that they get a chance to rest, but they have two very tough games coming down the pipe.
All right, we'll wrap up there. We'll be back at you, I guess, for the Open Cup game a week from Tuesday. I'm Mike. This is Eli. Thanks for watching.